Hi, it's Whitney Wiley, and thank you for joining me today for Love Your Work. This is where I get to talk with guests about the work they love and the lessons they've learned along the way. And today I have with me Veronica Bahn. She is the side hustle expert. Veronica, how are you?
Hello, Whitney. I'm excellent. Thank you.
I am so excited to have you here today. You and I know each other virtually anyway, right? We've been
Yeah.
connected for about 5 months now
Mhm.
through an event that we met at online and have created a mastermind group. So I know a little bit about you, but of course, our audience doesn't know much about you. So today we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about the work that you do and some of the lessons that you've learned along the way. You game for that?
I'm game. That sounds excellent. And I'm honored to be here with you today, Whitney. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited. So, Veronica, you are known as the side hustle expert. Tell us what the side hustle expert is and what exactly it is that you do.
Well, thanks for asking. And it's fairly timely, I think, at the moment, due to all the new better, right? We're going
Yeah.
through together, collectively, globally. Um, the phrase came up and it showed itself to me about a year ago, and I love that the side hustle expert, actually the acronym is she. And
Hadn't even noticed that. That's
right,
so
and
cool.
so I'm really excited about this she nation I'm starting, and where everything is evolving. But it actually began back in 2008-9, when my husband and I were divorced from the company we'd worked with for 17 years. And we really were looking for a plan B. We'd worked together side by side, from our beautiful home office, created a lifestyle that um, we thrived in. We had 3 children. I was able to stay home and work and be creative in a fun space working with my husband. And suddenly we were left to find something new and transition and transform lives at 43 and 48. So here we thought we were getting ready to retire in about 5 years, and the universe said, nope, you have more to do and you need to do it different. And so you're going to start a new path. So fast forward to 2009. I became an entrepreneur, solopreneur, with a network marketing company, and I dove headfirst into that, thinking, "Well, this feels right now." I've been
Mhm.
interviewing out there, just so it is so it is a mirror image to what is going on right now with so many people.
Yes.
I can relate and empathize and sympathize with hundreds of thousands of people that are going through a what now scenario. I was in this career, I was in this place, thought things were going great. But, when you unravel all of that, for me and my husband, we thought, you know, were we truly happy? Were we in the work we were supposed to be doing? Were we living our passion and purpose? And there's a lot of no in all of those spaces. My husband's loved what he's done, but and he's very good at it. But I knew there was more to my calling, and I was evolving. My kids were getting older. There was more I was supposed to be doing, and I wasn't seeking and searching and looking. I was comfortable. Well, it was time for me to leap into a new place. So, as I grew into the solopreneurship, entrepreneur, being very creative, I started to write down, what are my talents? What are my degrees in advertising and marketing? What have I done? I've spoke. Who have I helped? I've coached women. What have I done in all of these things?
Right.
And raising 3 adult children who are successful in their own right and doing amazing things themselves. And I started to realize that my plan B was evolving into something bigger and better. And the side hustle expert showed up, and I became a coach for women, leading them into checking off results in their life,
Mm,
helping them to identify and understand, what more can I be doing? How can I take a skill set that I've already developed and I'm thriving in, but not really, because maybe I'm clocking in for somebody else, or I'm helping somebody else grow their dream, and I'm not doing all the things that I want to do. And I found myself in conversations over the last 5 years, Whitney, talking to women asking me, how did you get into action? What is it that you did? Was it
Yeah.
scary? Did you have fear? Did you have support? And I found that sometimes the closest people to you, I mean, my husband's my greatest supporter, my kids are my loudest cheerleaders, but separate from that, there's not always the support that everybody's looking for
Right.
and
Right.
needing to feel confident enough to step into a new place. So I developed the ultimate guide to your success hustle, a side hustle, which I will offer as a free download to your guests. And I created this whole unique program that actually is not one size fits all, because you and I both know, as we've navigated through our businesses and the book you're writing and the podcast you're doing and all these things you're flowing into right now, it isn't one size fits all.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we can be in the exact same business, in the exact same industry, but we're talking to different people, we're showing up in a different way, and we're bringing our unique talents. And I found that is an ultimate skill set that I have. I'm able to really reach into the heart of women, having a deep conversation, deep dive, listen to what it is they're looking for, and then these gems appear, these magical stones, these lights show up on their path, and it is just a beautiful thing to witness and be part of.
I would agree with you. You're saying it from your side. I actually get to see that from the other side, and you are exactly that. So, you've talked a little bit about this journey of wasn't necessarily what you were looking for. You kind of thought you were doing what you were supposed to be doing and enjoying that to some degree. Once you realized, however, that there was a new path, what sorts of challenges did you have maybe internally in making the shifts and letting go of what
Mm.
was and really stepping into this new thing that you were doing?
Well, I learned I had to create some new habits. And the first thing that I did actually was have some deep conversations with my husband and
Mm,
allowed him to share with me what he thought my skill sets were. And I mean, I'd been out of work for a year when I jumped into my first side gig. But one thing that we knew, we were not going to put all of our eggs in one basket anymore. We needed to spread ourselves in different places where there was multiple streams of income, possibly coming in with the skill sets that I have and that my husband has. So we were looking to develop that, but we also had been used to being our own boss and working from
right.
home for 17 years. And so even though I was interviewing and I was putting out my resume, and I got tired of getting second place, to be quite honest, a couple times. And a couple companies called me 6 months after they told me I got second place, asking me if I was ready to take a look. And by then, I'd already jumped headfirst into the solopreneurship, this entrepreneurial business. The other thing is, I was willing to be coachable. I knew that doing something new and different and unique was going to take some coaching, some advanced education, not necessarily going to college,
Right.
just diving into some things, self learning, reading a little more, and being coachable with masterminds and thought leaders in an industry that I didn't know much about, and doing something completely new, and then trusting the path and the journey. Because you hit there's a lot of block walls that show up, and there's a lot of obstacles that come.
Right. Yeah.
Get told no quite often. In You go to the bank for a loan, or you're going here or there, and people, how much windshield time do you have you done this before, what is your experience here? And you have this unique thing that you want to do. And now we have the internet, which is beautiful, but as you and I know, it can be a rabbit hole. Once you dive into something, you can, and oh, I need to know that, and now I need to know that, and now I need to know that. And you wear a lot of different hats. And so I had a conversation with the person who meant the most to me in my life, and we'll be married 32 years here in a couple weeks. So thank
Congratulations.
you. Then I needed to write down all the things, and we brainstormed, that I felt I was good at.
Okay.
And it was really fun to hear what other people thought I was good at as well. And then sat and thought, how do I do that? What does this look like for me? So the career that I chose was a stepping stone to get me to where I am now. And that first career, that company I worked with is thriving and doing really well. And it was a good way for me to learn how to do some different things. But what I realized is I had all these skills all along. I had to
Mm,
just be willing to hone them, right? To, like you say, put the tools in the toolbox.
yes,
Be willing to go through that transformation and understand innately, intuitively, instinctively that the power is in me. I just had to find the people that would help me believe it and then bring it out of me and then work to believe it myself and trust it. And
exactly, exactly.
so
And
those
so
were my,
I would imagine that having gone through the journey yourself and with the side hustle makes it possible for you to really stand in the shoes of your clients as she is going through the same journey. How
absolutely.
does how does how does that actually translate into your being able to help them?
Well, that's a great question. And I believe that, and I know that I have this intuitive nature that comes from building relationships and deep listening. And oftentimes, the client, she'll tell me exactly what it is she wants to do, but she hasn't been given the space to really dive into that and think about it. Whether life drags her from one place to the other, she's like a fire person, fireman, firewoman. She's running from one 3 alarm fire to another to a 4 alarm, to, instead of being the architect of her life and drawing it
Right.
out, she's in reaction mode. And it is amazing how many brilliant, capable, in, women who just want to lift others and lift themselves, they just aren't sure how to do that. And for me, 10 and 12 years ago, the loudest voices in the room were these incredible men, right? We've heard of them all: Stephen Covey and Jack Canfield and Kevin Hall. I mean,
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, all these great business books that were, um, Sharon Lecter was, somebody that I turned to in terms of things that I read. But what, Brene Brown hadn't even shown up on the
Right.
stage yet. They're just, it wasn't, and we didn't have the internet, so the access to um, female leaders who had, and women who had shown up and just been these incredible women that I could reach to and read their books and find a way to connect, wasn't there for me. But I learned a lot from the male aspect of business. And I think that was really powerful. And I learned a lot from my husband. So now I'm hearing things different from a woman's perspective. I talk
Yeah.
to women a couple days a week who are becoming empty nesters, are suddenly the sole breadwinners in their family, who have lost a spouse, who are finding themselves sending, the becoming grandparents, and or their job just to take them where they wanted to go, or they're one suite away from the corner office and they don't know how, they've forgotten how to get there. And so my hope is that we together, we co-create this space where we're diving into what it is that makes her heart sing,
I
and
love
help,
that.
and then gives her a chance to sleep at night. And she can still be going to her job and her 40-hour and her salary commitment, but she can be over here with perfect planning. And I help unwind the week, so they look at the hours they do have versus the hours they don't have. And
Right. Yeah.
this isn't a business for everybody. It takes a certain mindset. You have to be in abundant expansion mindset constantly. The minute you find yourself in scarcity mode or in fear mode, you just go hang your entrepreneurial hat on the hook
That's true. Yeah.
and trust right now with the right. So I've gone through all of that. I've gone through the ups and downs. I've cried myself to sleep. I've stayed up nights wondering what the heck I'm doing and why. And I like to tie a charitable piece into all my clients that I work with, no matter what level we're connecting at, because when you have a contribution or something you give from your heart and you're committed to that every single month, month in and month out, your that three-letter word that many of us might cringe when we hear the why word, why are you doing this, is so much easier to overcome when
Right.
it's not about, it's for my family, it's for my children, it's for me, it's for my savings, it's for my retirement, it's to retire my husband, it's to have more travel time. Because those are really easy reasons to go, oh, I didn't get my goal this month, or I didn't finish this coursework, or I'm having to put off the call I'm having with Veronica this week. That's okay. I'll just put off everything another week, another month, another year, another day. But when you're committing to a charitable cause, and you've picked up the phone and you've called them, or you've shown up, it's a place where you maybe have given your time, and now
Mm-hmm.
suddenly you're giving money and you're committing it to it. It is amazing what happens to the mindset of an entrepreneur when they come from a philanthropic heart. And so we work through that as well.
That's beautiful. That's not an aspect that I had thought to intentionally embrace with my clients, but I can see how that makes just the little added difference, right? We do spend a lot of time with our clients talking about their whys, and the whys are very powerful. But having something that is really outside and someone else is depending on, right? And in a cause that means something to you, I can see how that gives that little added something. You mentioned Brené Brown and some of the other female leaders, and when I looked at your bio and I listened to you talk today, and in general, when we're on our weekly calls, there is the language that you have woven through is very much tapping into, I think, the feminine power side, right? And it is, I think, something that Brené Brown and others have given women permission to lead with that instead of having to try to be like men, try to lead like men, and just giving us permission to lead as ourselves, to just be ourselves. Uh, Do you find in the work that you're doing with your client that some of that is work that you're having to help them draw that out, or are they already connected with that and saying, "Oh, I didn't know that I could"?
That, yes, and it depends on the age. So I'm 53, and I've discovered probably from 45 and up, maybe 42. The conversations I have with those women are different than the
Mm,
23 to 41. And we had that daughter who's 29 says, Mom, I wouldn't have wanted to grow up in your age because you had Gloria Steinem and June Cleaver. Like, you have two different ideas on how to woman and raise a family. And if you have any business sense and excitement to learn more, then have to find a way to maybe wear both hats. And I hadn't thought of it like that in a while, this idea of breaking the glass ceiling. And I thought, yeah, I did grow up in that age where my dad said, you can do and be, and you're
right.
in a man's world, and you go out there. And I kind of hate that because, I mean, I'm raising two knights, right? I've married one. I have a wonderful relationship with my father, who just pushes and pushes me, which I love even to this day. He challenges me to think in a different way and to, so yes, unwinding that. But yet I have a 29-year-old daughter who can walk into an office and own her position and say, no, I deserve this raise and I want this percentage, and it's equal to or that of male counterpart, and how we're looking at the world right now. So it's a very diverse, and it's a fun conversation. And one of the projects that we get to do, one of my exercises, is discovering your superpower, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my groups is called Team Wonder Woman. And so I have these little reminders right on my desk. They are sparkle Wonder Woman high heels, and they say pow and bam and wham. And during you know, there are moments when people need a good little kick. So I put these on and I need one too. But just stepping into that superpower.
Yeah.
Identifying what it is, and then letting that, when you put your feet down in the morning after some exercises that I think are super, and habits that I think are super powerful to start your day with, your mindset is different. And I come from a place where when we hadn't been bringing in an income for a year, and me specifically, giving to a charity every month, I became an ambassador for Nourish the Children, and it was the first thing I did before I ever became profitable in my business. And I just and there were months I thought, oh, I'm feeding children and I need to feed mine, and this is crazy.
Right.
But I know from experience, and I know that I know this, that when you open up your hands and let things flow through, things flow through.
Yes.
And when
Yes.
you're so afraid of not sure, and I know there's practicality, I understand and hear the voices. You got to go to the grocery store and there's not a paycheck coming in. I get that. But when you practice this, it is amazing what happens in your life.
Yes.
It's amazing what happens in your business. And it all doesn't open the floodgates and come at once, but you can see it. And that's when I'm working with my 3-month clients, my 90-day, that's when we get to really watch that happen for them. And I'm just blessed that I know women lift economies, and across the globe, more needs to be done. And I'm just so proud of the Side Hustle Expert, and I'm proud to show up and build relationships where I'm touching on subjects and in lives that matter. It will make a difference for them in the vision they have for themselves, for their family, for their children, for their daughters, for my daughter. And
Absolutely.
I know it
That's
makes a
beautiful.
difference.
You're making me cry. It's yeah. The just your approach to the whole thing is just, it's beautiful, it's vulnerable, and very strong and powerful at the same time. So Veronica, if someone, and I know you do this often because this is what you do, but as we wrap this up, if someone were to come to you and say, I want to be a side hustle expert, I want to help women, um, you know, figure out their next step or an additional step, what pieces of advice would you give them in making a transition into doing the kind of work that you're doing?
They have to really know who they are first.
Yeah.
If you don't have a relationship with yourself and you can't look in the mirror and talk to yourself and look in your eyes, like really look in your eyes to the point where you want to cry because you're not sure who you're looking at, and suddenly you see that 8-year-old little girl and 10 and 12 and 18 and 27 and 40 and 50 and 53, you have to be willing to look at her and talk to her and know who she is. Because if you're going to lead others, you have to lead yourself first.
Yes. The core, the foundation of absolutely everything, and the basis upon which change happens, leadership happens, is exactly what you just said. And it is knowing yourself. And there's a philosopher who says that, right? Know thyself. So, Veronica, thank you so much for joining me today for Love Your Work. I appreciate not only you coming here today and sharing your wisdom, sharing about what you do, but the role that you're playing in my life currently. And I just appreciate you and thank you for being here.
Well, I appreciate you and love you. And
Thank
we
you.
just got to love ourselves to love others and seek first to better understand.
Absolutely. So, if you are interested in working with Veronica, if you are thinking of adding a side hustle or you've got one and want to figure out how to do it better, you can give Veronica, look her up. Her contact information will be in the post that goes along with this video, and she has graciously offered a free download, and we will get that information available for you as well. So, thank you for joining us today. And until next time, love your work, and we'll see you then. Take care.